Well, I've been asked, what's the secret to life? And I think for me, the only thing that you can say about life that's the secret is really not a secret. It's to live, right? It's to live this life. And what does that mean? To me, it means getting off that couch, getting out of that bed, and doing what you know you got to do to make this life something. What it means is that if you have a dream, you have a goal, you've got to reach for it. No one is going to come to your doorstep, man, and say, oh, here, we forgot you want this. Because there's a million other people out there who want the same thing, possibly. But you have the power every single day of this life to make it happen. So, introductions. My name is Levi. I am a 12-year-long writer. I write children's books. I've been writing, like I said, for 12 years. And in those 12 years, I have 7 books. I am also a photographer. I have compiled enough photos in my home county to create four individual picture books. To do my picture books, I've driven up and down every road in my county in southern Illinois 4 different times. I've created 6,224 miles driven. That's going across this nation twice. And it's my passion. See, when I started 12 years ago, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had a job that I liked, and I lost it. It was then that I was guaranteed that there's no certainty in this world. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is promised. No one is going to come up and say, oh, you have a degree, let me give you a full-time job that you're going to have the rest of your life. Or you like this job, well, then we'll just let you keep it. That's not how it works. And for me, it opened my eyes to something I've always wanted to do. See, I'd always been creative. I'd written plays. I'd written screenplays. I'd written song lyrics. I'd been a poet most of my life. One thing that I'd never thought about doing up until I was in high school was writing a book. Now, I started out when my son, who's now 12, my oldest, I have 3. When I started writing, it was because his mother had had a C-section, and I was the one that got up at night because as a dad, that's our job. I started having routines with him. He would be up at 11, he'd be up at 1, and then he'd wake up at 2 again before he'd finally go to sleep until 6. I started using that time in between him getting up because I knew I wasn't going to sleep. I used that time to write. And it only took a year and a half, and I had my first book written. A 200-page children's book. I was thrilled. But the truth is, I was new. We're all new in this thing when we make decisions, aren't we? I mean, you could be sitting there right now listening to me, watching, and saying, gosh, tomorrow I'm going to start that new job, or tomorrow I'm quitting this job that I've had for 20 years. You're daring to be new at something. That's what life's about. You're willing to take those chances. And I was willing to take that chance. But I was new. And see, I had thought, just like in life, that everything was going to come easy. And, oh, now that I had done it, it was going to happen. So I sent all these manuscripts off to these publishers. And I thought, oh, man, I'm going to fight off all of the publicity. That's not how it happens. It don't work that way. Every single publisher wrote back and said, We don't take unsolicited material. I didn't even know what that word meant. Here I was a writer. Then came the point where I started learning. I started realizing what I wanted and how I had to get there. I learned about this grueling task called finding a literary agent. Just like with whatever you want to do in your life, you might be thinking, how do I get here? How do I do this? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? I had to start learning the process of finding a literary agent. And that's not an easy process. So I started sending all these letters out, and I was blessed to have a lot of them come back and say, we like your work, we're just not accepting anything right now. But don't get me wrong, I had plenty that said I sucked, that I was horrible. But I kept going, and I kept smiling. You see, even then, I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a writer, just like you might want to be a lawyer or a doctor, or you might want to take a broom and start sweeping the streets. If you're good at it, then do it. See, I had all these big dreams when I started. I still have these big dreams. But let me tell you, it's to steal a quote, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. One of the best quotes out there in cinema right now. Still a good one. I learned the hard way about getting what you want. See, you got to find out how are you going to get there and start taking them steps to try to do it. You got to get off that couch. You got to get out of that bed. You got to be the last one going to bed and the first one getting up off that couch. See, in 12 years, I've had 7 books, 1,300 plus pages, thousands of photos taken. I have a blog site that has over 12,000 viewers. It's www.1imaginaryfox.wordpress.com. oneimaginaryfox.wordpress.com. Check it out. I have a Facebook page for LB Fox with over 700, almost 800 likes. But none of this has come easy. None of this is taken for granted. See, something you can relate to. It's not been an easy road. I started out as a guy that wanted to get married one time. I'm getting ready to go through my second divorce. Now, I laugh because I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming. But when things aren't going where you need them to go for you, you have to take massive action and change it to keep your life on the road that you want. If you let someone else steer it for you, you'll never go where you want because you're the only one that knows. I've been divorced twice. I've been bankrupt. I've been foreclosed on. I've had cars repossessed. I've lost a home. At one point, on my 13th birthday, my grandmother passed away. I know what it's like to lose a child. I've buried a brother that died way too young. And in fact, just today, someone I've known for a long time that was always a big supporter of my work passed away. her time had come and the Lord called her up. But see, we lose our way a lot. We let other people influence us. We let other people tell us, you suck, or you're not any good. And we start believing it. We start buying into their negativity. But the truth is, all you need is right there within inside of you right now. You just got to find it and work towards what you want. I'll give you an example. 6 months ago, I would hear my alarm clock go off at 6:45. I would stumble out of bed. I hurt. I ached. I felt miserable. I'd stumble into the bathroom, and when I got done with that, I had like 5 minutes to get to work. I mean, thank God I only lived 6 blocks from work, or I'd have been fired. I would go to work, and I hated every single day. I hated dealing with people that didn't know what they wanted, didn't know how to get things, but expected me to have the answers. I got aggravated with coworkers. I got aggravated with my boss. It's not a good thing to do if you want to keep your job. But I would somehow manage to get through this 9 hours of work. I would come home never knowing what I was going to come home to. Is it going to be a happy environment? Is it going to be a sad environment? Is it going to be pandemonium? Or will it just be an average day? I come home and I'd sit in a recliner. I'd sit in a recliner for 6 hours until midnight. I'd fall asleep watching the news every night. I'd wake up, I'd stumble into bed just so I could get up, just so I could start this all over again. You can change your own life, and what I'm about to say is proof. What do I do now? Well, like I said, I'm getting divorced for a second time. It's not a decision that came lightly, but I had to take massive action, just like you do with anything, to put your life back where you want. I saw where it wasn't going, and I took it back. What happens now? My alarm clock goes off at 5 o'clock. I get out of bed. I go into my living room, and I put these CDs in that are from my life coach. Very fun, wonderful person. Not going to say who it is because this isn't about them. And I go through a process where I start deep, full breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And I start thinking about everything in this life that I'm blessed to have. And no matter what's going on in your life, there's always something to be blessed about. You live in a free country. You have both your arms, you have both your legs, you have all your hair. I'm very grateful for that. You have all your teeth. You can hear, you can see, your heart beats. You can find something to be grateful for. And after I get grateful and blessed for what I've got, I tie that into how I feel about what I still want in my life. I want to be a successful writer. You may want to be a successful doctor. You may be just praying you can get through college to get that degree. Tie that into what you're grateful for so you'll be grateful for what you're going through. See, I continue with what I want in this life. I want to have people standing up in line at my book signings because children are excited to read my work. They're excited to read. It's not all about making money. Yeah, that's a great side, but it's about inspiring. It's about creation. It's about, in a world with electronics, that you can still make children want to read and to be excited to create with their own imaginations. Something electronics can't always give them. And then I start telling myself that everything I need is already inside me. It's already there. And I keep telling myself that over and over and over. And I finish it with 30 push-ups. I finish it with 30 sit-ups. I stretch for 10 minutes. That's a big difference compared to 6 months ago when I was only giving myself 5 minutes to get to work. But the truth is, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Because it ain't going to come to you for free, man. Now you can say, okay, 12 years from now, where are you at? Mr. I don't know who you are, author that seems to be so happy. Where am I? If you was gauging it on his financial success, I'm probably nowhere farther along than where I was 12 years ago. But if you gauge it on a success of what have I learned, the knowledge I've gained, the experience that I've gone through, and some of the scars that I'm proud to have, just like you have scars, we all have scars. How do you look at them? Do you look at them as something that keeps you down, or do you look at it as something that motivates you? See, through 2 divorces, foreclosures, bankruptcy, losing a child, burying a brother, I've never quit smiling. And even today, I don't have any money. My mother has cancer. I'm still smiling. Why? One example, my mother. My mother has cancer, and she is one of the strongest women I know. And she'll kick it in the rear because that's her. She may go home and have a good cry. She may have an evening where she lets it get her down so she can go through that grieving process over it. But to be inspired is to get back up to say, this ain't me. And that's what my mother inspires in me. I know what it's like to lose a child. That's something that around every May gets to me. But I'm inspired by it because I know that I can survive and I know I can go on. You can go on. You can make it. You can do it. I don't care if you're going to do something that you have to go through 10 years of school for, or if you're going to go work at McDonald's. A lot of great people have done that. So to explain it, I know where I'm going. I know what I want. But most importantly, I know where I've been. See, I will become a successful writer. And it's not just because I'm sitting here saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna become famous." It's not fame. I'm not looking for fame. I'm looking to reach the goals that I have set for myself. I will publish my books because I will work until I make it happen. I'll keep going until I make it happen. That's what you have to do. Don't quit. There's people out there that are going to tell you you're not going to make it. There's people out there that are going to tell you you're no good. You know, an author, for example, has people tell them they suck. That's about as simple and as low as it can get. At one point in my writing career, I had an agency from New York interested in me. And then when I called them to start working on getting signed with them, they dumped me. They bailed. They said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we just decided company decision that we're not going to take on anyone else. We wish you the best." That's harsh. But here I am several years later with 7 books, thousands of photos, a blog site, a Facebook fan site. Don't quit. Don't quit. Now, I'll give you an example here of what I'm so grateful for. After my second divorce here that's going on right now, I'm still blessed to have a home. I'm warm, I'm clean, I'm dry, even though it's cold out. Now, if you can imagine having a home that's empty, it's not much of a home, it's a house. And that's what I was left with. I didn't have much. I was left with a recliner. I was left with a stove. Things I had brought into this marriage. For the last month and a half, I've slept on a Coleman Air-Up mattress. And here's a shameless plug. Coleman Air-Up mattresses, they're really comfortable, especially after you slept on them for a month and a half, 2 months. They're good, not just for camping. But I know it sounds crazy, but I had no dresser, no couch, no end tables, no fridge, no washer, no dryer, no dining room table to eat at. But I had a home. Just like you have something. It may not be a home, but... And see, I'm grateful for that because I've slept in a car before. I've been homeless. I've had nothing. But I've had my kids that love me unconditionally. I have family and friends who support me. And I've had my work, my writing, just like you have your dreams, to keep you pushing forward. I went from a car every night to a 1-bedroom home, and now I have a 2-story home that I live in because I kept working at it. And I'm not done yet. But if you can imagine an empty home, before I get done, I want to show you, if you'll let me, my home now, from all the blessings that I've had, all the wonderful people, and all the hard work that I've put into it. Because even though I've had these wonderful people that have helped me, a lot of this in my life is because of the hard work that I'm willing to give back. Because it's you know, it's like the old saying, you're going to get what you give. So imagine, if you would, I'll show you. Now, if you can imagine a home being empty, I had this chair and that was it. I had nothing else. And if you can imagine having no dining room table to eat at, I have a 100-year-old dining room table now that has more history than I can imagine. I have a refrigerator, something that you don't realize how wonderful it is to have until it's done. But let me tell you something. 12 years later, I feel successful, and there's a reason. Now, I'm going to show you inside my refrigerator the way it looks every single day of the week, except when my kids are here. And it's going to be proof that you don't measure success by what you got, it's what you have. And let me show you. This is my refrigerator. This is how my refrigerator looks 5 days out of 7. I have hot dogs because my son loves them. But you know what? I'm still smiling. Why? Because I know who I am. I know where I am. I know where I've been. And I know where I'm going. Now, the Air-Up mattress that I had set in this room that I'm going to take you to. And imagine not having a dresser, not having a bed to sleep on. So imagine what I'm blessed with. You don't know what it's like until you don't have it. I have kids, you can tell they have clothes. But see, it's not about what you have been through. It can make things so much wonderful if you learn to appreciate what you've been through. You see, 12 years later, some people could look at it and say, man, you need to quit. If you ain't no farther off than you are now, you might be sitting there thinking, that's it, I give up with whatever it is that you're wanting to do. If you look at other people and you see that they're successful, you have to ask yourself why. Success leaves hints. It leaves these little tidbits of information for you to learn how to do it. But the thing is, you got to get off that couch. You got to get off that chair. You got to get up and move. See, I don't have any money. I don't have any food, but I got a dream. And that dream that I'm not just sitting and telling myself, oh, it's going to happen. It'll happen, but you got to work for it. I have a mother with cancer right now, and I'm excited for her because I know she'll whip it. She's too stubborn not to. I can't put clothes on my kids' back like I'd like to right now. But I have 3 unconditional loves that are priceless. And I'm sure you have something similar. So before I close, I just want to tell you, I've been there too. I have slept in a car. I've slept in so many different places. I know what it's like to leave work and not know where you're going to lay your head that night. I've been there. I know what it's like to sleep on the floor in a friend's house. I slept in my father's horse trailer on a couple of occasions. Now, granted, I didn't sleep in the back of it. He has a very nice, completely remodeled front end. But still, when things get tough, get resourceful. Make it happen. If you get on my blog site, www.one, the number one, not the word, oneimaginaryfox.wordpress.com, you can see what I've gone through since 2009. And one reason I'm still smiling is because I'm warm. There's people out there that's cold. Right now, I'm not hungry. There's people out there now that are starving. I'm free. There's people right now that don't know if their captors are going to come shoot them in the morning. I'm blessed. And I really hope that you'll take the time to see that you're blessed. I feel that you're blessed. But the thing is, before I leave, what do you want in your life? What do you want? What do you want to have? And what are you willing to do to make it happen? For me, I want to be a successful writer. I want to have children standing in line because they cannot wait to have a copy of their book signed. And for me, it's knowing that I've inspired them to read, to be creative, to find their own potential. And what am I willing to do? I've recently joined a writers guild in the closest city to me. I drive an hour and a half to get there for an hour and a half meeting where sometimes I don't even say anything. I'm willing to spend a little bit of money to put a video out to inspire you, hopefully, because that's what gratifies me. I'm willing to keep writing. I'm willing to keep blogging. I'm willing to keep working, putting that book out there, entering them contests. What are you willing to do? I hope that you'll keep going. Whatever you want to do, don't sit on the safety of that ledge in life where you'll never get hurt. Make that leap of faith. Take that leap. It may hurt. You may fall. But if you keep doing it, there's going to come a point where that next time will be the last because you'll succeed. It'll happen. You just got to believe in yourself. I believe in myself, and I'm one of the poorest people in my neighborhood right now. But I keep smiling. So check out my website. Check out the blog. Write me, comment. If I can help you, I will. And who knows, maybe you'll help me. So until then, feel the magic in this life and live with gratitude. And I hope that it's inspired you in some way. But no matter what your situation is, don't give up, okay? Just one time in your life, take that leap of faith and don't give up.